What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So we're back, and I do find it kind of ironic because I feel like I've done this a few times, not intentionally, but it feels like there are times whenever I do a review for a Chelsea game, and then I have to take a break because I'm traveling or I'm not at home for whatever reason, and it just so happens that the last review that I did is the last win we had. And of course, this has been over the past 2 seasons because before this, we hardly went on winless runs. But ever since Boehly took over, it's been kind of commonplace. But yeah, past 2 seasons, there have just been those moments where I'll do a review and we won the game and I have some good stuff to talk about, and then the next few games we lose, we draw, whatever, and I'm just like I hope people don't think that I'm just not reviewing because I'm mad and I'm butthurt about it. Like I can't review it because honestly, for me, it's kind of cathartic to be able to get on and do a review after we play like absolute crap, because then I can get on here and I can absolutely tear apart everybody that played terribly. So yeah, I'm definitely not avoiding talking about the games, if just in case anybody had those thoughts. But what's nice though is looking at this game outside of the referee, pretty much the same exact game that we had against Forest and against Bournemouth. So pretty much everything that I said here, outside of obviously the individual performances, because that changes a little bit every match, but everything else that I say about the team as a whole, you can attribute to the last 2 games because this is how it's been. And that can easily be summed up with great possession, great ball movement down the field, absolutely no IQ in the box. As soon as we get into that final third, everybody loses their mind. I swear it's like there's a switch in everybody's brain, or just there's a switch in the team as a whole. And as soon as it gets in the box, somebody that just absolutely hates our team just flips the switch, and all of them turn into bumbling idiots. And they're just like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. And it's embarrassing to watch. Like, it's crazy. You watch them move the ball around the field, and you're thinking, God, we're playing well. We're knocking the ball around well. We look competent. We look like a good team. And then we get into the box, and all of a sudden it's like every touch is too long, every shot is off target or right at the keeper. It's like they just have no idea what they're doing. And they show clips from their training. We know how to finish. We do it in training. For some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know if we just don't have the quality on the field that it looks like we do. But once they get on the pitch for an actual game, they just lose all of the stuff that they were doing in training. And it's embarrassing to watch. So that's pretty much been the last few games. As far as a couple of the other things involved, for Pochettino, he's not been doing terribly as a manager. He's definitely got us looking more energetic than we did last season. I still don't feel like our energy levels look great, and I'll talk about it a bit more for this game in particular, because there are moments where it feels like we lose that, and once we lose it, we can't get it back. But we look better as a team than we did last season under Potter. But the problem still remains. If you can't score goals, you're not going to win. And we can't. I mean, we don't have a quality finisher up front. And a lot of that comes down to Boehly's recruiting. He's not doing his job, or whoever he's got doing the recruiting and the transfers and stuff. They're not doing their due diligence to look into these players and say, all right, is this guy a consistent quality finisher? Because everybody we brought in can't get the job done. And so every single game, it's the same thing. Great ball movement, great play up until the final third, and then they just absolutely lose it, and it's gone. And all it takes is that one mistake, and Forest get their goal, Villa get their goal, Bournemouth could have had a couple. So, yeah, anyways, moving on to the one thing we can't control, though, I do want to say that I feel like a lot of the referees that have been brought in over the past couple of years, there's been a very serious decline of quality in the referees. And I'm not saying that, obviously, I'm a lot more critical of the referees, and most fans are. Most fans, they tend to not like the referees anytime they make a decision against their team. But it definitely feels like, I look at some of the new ones, like Peter Banks, who's the other one? Oh, God. Cook, I think. I don't know. But there have been a couple, and now Jared Gillett, I think he was brought in last year, but I'm watching him today, and he's awful. Like, just all throughout the match, he's terrible for both sides for the most part in the first half. He's not calling the first foul, because there are several times where somebody's making a run downfield and there's like a little tug or there's a clip, but they break through that first challenge and then somebody else comes up and wins the ball in the next challenge and he doesn't bring it back for that first foul. He did it like 3 or 4 times for us. He did it twice for Villa. So he's just been terrible the whole match. And then you get to, the incident at the end of the first half. Terribly handled. He gives the yellow to Digne, which is warranted because he did basically tackle Sterling as he's running through. But then you can just tell there's something going on with VAR. You can tell he's looking for something. He's like, all right, he's got a bloody nose. I'm going to see if Sterling did something to him. I'm really going to look at... You watch the first replay, there's nothing in it. Sterling is throwing his arm, like basically using his arm to try to get around him and accidentally catches him in the face as he's going around. First viewing, you can see that clearly. It takes like 15 to 20 seconds of them, I need to look at this real closely because I'm ready. I'm ready to give somebody a red today. I'm ready to send somebody. So as soon as Gusto goes in, you see Digne rolling around and you see the VAR is really looking at it. And you can see his studs catch him. I'm like, they're going to send him off. It doesn't matter that he won the ball first. It doesn't matter that the studs caught him low. It doesn't matter that he didn't go in straight-legged. It ended up being a swing and then his leg was out straight. So none of it looks like a red. Maybe if you want to be super nitpicky, well, his studs did catch him on the ankle, so it's yellow because that's a little reckless. If you want to be really nitpicky, I could understand giving him a yellow. There's no red in there. He wins the ball. His studs catch him low on the ankle, so it's not even that high. And it's not like his leg was straight all the way through. It's not like he lunged through. He's swinging to win the ball, and after he wins the ball, Digne kind of kicks into his studs in the process. So there's no red card there, but as soon as the VAR was looking at it for longer than 25 seconds, I'm thinking he's ready. He's ready to give us a card, and this is his chance. Sure enough, and Jerry Gillett goes over, and he's just the dumbass who's like, yeah, okay, you said this is a red card, I'll believe you. And he sends him off. And it's stupid. It's not a red in any game except for this one. Whenever Chelsea, we need to punish them because they had a Russian owner a couple years ago, and we need to punish them. We need to make sure they're punished. I obviously that's a conspiracy theory, but that's really what it feels like sometimes. Ever since the whole Russia-Ukraine war happened, and they honestly, ever since Abramovich took over, it felt like they didn't like him. Whoever is in charge of the FA, all of the people, they have not liked Abramovich. It felt like the Russia-Ukraine war was finally there. Oh, we now have the moral high ground to do this, to basically ruin this guy because we don't like what he did. Coming over here and buying a club and making them successful. We don't like him. We don't like Russians. And that's what it's felt like. And then Boehly came in, and he's a complete idiot because he's treating this like it's a baseball team, and we're not. And but yeah, this just feels like another slap on the wrist for Chelsea. Get him sent off. Send him off. We don't like Chelsea anymore, so send off any player. If there's even a slight chance that it's a red card, it's a red card for sure. But anyways, done talking about those idiots. On to individual performances. Sanchez in goal. Honestly, I've not been a huge fan of him so far. I've not been super impressed. Today he looked good. And unfortunately it was his one mistake that led to the goal. And it's one of those things where he makes all these fantastic saves and then he makes the one, and I'm sure he's going to get blasted for it, but that's the life of a keeper or a defender. Silva, same thing. Plays completely well, does his job perfectly, and then he makes one mistake that leads to the goal. So it's really hard because as somebody who played defender, whenever I was playing senior year of high school and then a little bit amateur, I know that feeling. I know the feeling of you play your game perfectly throughout the entire match and then you make one mistake and it leads to a goal, and now suddenly you're just feeling like, well, I had a terrible game today. So it sucks, but unfortunately you have to stay 100% turned on, aware of everything, and you can't be having those mistakes at this high level. You just can't. So it's harsh, but that's the reality of it. If you're making a single mistake as a defender or keeper, you're not good enough. You're not going to be good enough to be able to compete at the Premier League level because you can't afford to make those mistakes. Because most of the time, teams are good enough to pounce on it and convert, which Watkins did today. Yeah, Disasi was the other center defender with Silva, and he's just kind of up and down. He has his moments where he looks pretty good defensively, or he does something nice on the ball to get it down the field, and then all of a sudden he'll just have a moment where he completely loses his mind and gives the ball away too cheaply, or goes flying into a challenge just to get turned way too easily. So he's very up and down defender. I know Badiashile is back in training, so I'm hoping he can come back soon because he really looks more of a complete defender than Disasi does. Gusto on the right side, he's essentially just the right-sided Cucurella. He's by far a worse player. Obviously, I don't blame him for the red card because I don't think it was a red, but everything else in his game was awful. He just gives the ball away too much. He's involved a lot because we like to go down that right side, but most of the time when the ball goes to him, it doesn't really lead to anything. It's a bad cross right to a defender, or it's a bad touch that lets the defender poke it away from him, or he's just going backwards with it. Very rarely do I see him doing something that's, oh, that was really good. Good job, Gusto. It's most of the time, it's just not good enough. Defensively, he is where he is the most middle of the road. He'll sometimes make some good challenges, sometimes get beat too easily, or sometimes lose track of his man. So occasionally he'll be a good defender, but not all the time, and we need him to be all the time. And then going forward, as much as he's involved, you would expect him to be a lot more quality on the ball, and he's just not. So for me, it's just we signed another Cucurella. He's a bit younger, so he can grow, maybe get better, but he's at Cucurella's level from what I've seen so far. And it's unfortunate because we don't really have any other options right now outside of James, who's still hurt and will probably still be hurt for a while and gets hurt a lot. So it feels like kind of similar to Chilwell and Cucurella last season, where Chilwell constantly was injured. We had to keep relying on this awful player who isn't good enough at the Premier League. Kind of now feels like that's what we have on the right side, where on the left side we now have Colwill to step up, which for today I thought he played okay. Definitely has his moments where you can tell he's still young, he's still growing, still has those lapses in concentration, but overall he looks good, he looks solid, and I'm glad that we have him as a backup option on the left side rather than Cucurella, because Cucurella is just, like I said, not good enough. However, that being said, I will say we don't have a whole lot of good attacking talent down that left side, so it does make me wonder why Chilwell is not more involved on the left side, because he would be getting up and down the line well. So I don't really know what Pochettino's doing there, but definitely at least the defensive side of things, Colwill's doing his job well enough throughout the majority of the 90 minutes. Into the midfield, obviously where we looked the weakest because we didn't improve at all in the offseason. One of the biggest things we needed to improve was we needed to get a good defensive midfielder in there, especially when we're losing Conte, and instead we go get an absolutely trash defensive midfielder for over $100 million. Yeah, Boehly is an idiot. I mean, it's clear, it's obvious, he's an idiot, and it's being proved again. Got proved last season with Cucurella. Him being a $50 million signing was obviously not what we needed. Now we've brought in a midfielder from Brighton for twice that much, and he's not worth it. Caicedo is terrible. He is awful. The fact that Fernandez was the first sub off and not Caicedo kind of makes me concerned that either Pochettino's an idiot and he can't see that, or Boehly has stepped in and said, hey, we bought him for a lot of money. He has to play. You have to play him. You have to start him. Because honestly, after Ugachukwu's performance against Bournemouth last weekend, I was thinking, okay, maybe Ugachukwu will take that position because he actually played decently against Bournemouth. But then we come back here, Caicedo's available again, and he's back in the starting lineup. And then he does nothing to earn the spot. So, is it Boehly? Is it Pochettino? Who's responsible for putting that trash midfielder that we well overpaid for onto the pitch? Because he doesn't need to be out there. Every time he gives the ball away, every time he misses a tackle, every time he's too slow to keep up or too weak to be strong in the midfield, every time he does something, I'm just sitting there going, my God, what are we doing? Why is he out there? With Fernandez, I don't understand why Fernandez is not playing deeper. Because with Fernandez back there last season and some of the games this season, it felt like he still lacks a little bit defensively like Jorginho did, but he's a better distributor than Jorginho is. He's better at getting the ball deep and making stuff happen with it. And then all of a sudden we bring in Caicedo. He's now the deep man. And he can't do distributing well. He can't do the defensive side of things well. So I don't know what he's doing there. But now Fernandez is pushed further forward. And he's not able to do his distributing stuff. Like, he's still pretty good on the ball, so he could still make some stuff happen in the final third, have that nice final ball in behind. But it's definitely not the same level as what he was doing, like against Liverpool or in preseason. You know, those balls that he's pinging from deep and finding those long diagonals, he's not doing that anymore because he's further forward. And I don't know why. Like, he was doing the deep lying playmaker role so well. And now he's just, oh no, now he's our number 10. No, he's not. He's not a number 10. That's not his position. And yet, honestly, Gallagher's a better number 10. And where is he? He's typically dropped a bit deeper, trying to be a bit of a distributor. And he's not good at that either. Gives the ball away way too much. Lingers on the ball way too much. So you've got Caicedo and Gallagher are typically your deepest midfielders. They're typically the ones picking it up deep and getting pressured and then giving the ball away. Meanwhile, you've got Fernandez, who is built for that role to pick the ball up deep and make something happen with it, and he's further down the field. So I don't know if it's Pochettino thinking he's seeing something that he's not, or if it's Boehly just forcing Pochettino, like, hey, we bought this guy, you have to play him. But whatever the case, our midfield right now is our weakest asset. Like, I know our attack is obviously not combining very well, not scoring, but you look at our midfield, whether we're giving the ball away too deep or we're not finding that final pass, there's a lot of issues there that I feel like if we fix that, not necessarily solve our scoring problem, but it would at least keep us in the driver's seat for longer. Because at the moment, it's 15, 20 minutes of domination, we're moving the ball well, and then once teams figure out or grow into the game or whatever it is, as soon as they do that, our midfield is not strong enough to handle it, and now suddenly we can hardly get out of our own box. And it's happened 3 games in a row now. So, I guess to summarize all of that little rant, you've got Caicedo was terrible today, Gallagher was mixed, mostly terrible, and Fernandez is just, he's not playing well, but he's also out of position. So, it's kind of, that's your midfield 3 at the moment. As far as your front 3, Mudryk has like 2 or 3 really good moments per match, and then the rest of it he's just completely uninvolved. You know, he gets the ball, loses it right away. He gets the ball, passes it backwards. He doesn't get the ball because he's well out wide and not even involved in the play. So it's like those 2 or 3 moments, they are great chances that he creates. But that's 2 or 3 chances in 90 minutes. You need a lot more than that if you're going to continue to play at this high level. You need to be creating 5, 6, 7 chances at least. And he's not even doing that. He's not doing the bare minimum for an attacking talent. So I think a lot of it is just down to, first, you've got Colwill on the left side, who's not really going to be doing the overlapping runs or helping him in the attack like Chilwell would. So he's kind of isolated over there. And also, I think a lot of teams know how to play against him. They've watched him play. They know, hey, just don't let him get one-on-one with the defender. Don't let him get time and space to run. They figured him out, and now he's completely ineffective. So we need to figure out how to utilize him better or give him some help so that he has something else to go to outside of just, I'm going to kick it and run. Because that's about all he has, and teams know that. So, yeah, he's not really getting the job done right now. Granted, I don't really know what else we have on the bench that can play over there. Because I know, Chukwuemeka would be probably the next best option. Or maybe Nkuku, but I think Nkuku's going to be more centralized when he comes back. But, yeah, Mudryk's just, because of the fact that he is a very one-dimensional player, because we've not changed up anything, he's completely neutralized because teams know what to do. Sterling on the right side, he rides the line from being our best player to being one of our worst at times. Because, yeah, he's still playing at that high intensity, breaking him behind. He really is putting forth effort, which I didn't see a whole lot of last season. However, there are moments in the game where he fades out, and when he does, it's almost like we're down to 10 men because of it. So in those moments, it's very frustrating, but then all of a sudden he'll turn it on again, and you're just like, okay, this is why we need him out there. And then 5 minutes later, he's gone again. And I will say today was probably the worst that I've seen him, because definitely for the last 10, 15 minutes, I didn't even know he was out there. Like, there was one point, I caught myself thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, did we sub Sterling off? I haven't seen him. And all of a sudden, ball gets passed to the middle of the field, camera pans, and I see him out on the left side. I'm like, okay, no, he is still out there. He's not touched the ball in the last 20 minutes. So yeah, today was probably his worst performance overall this season, but there are still those moments that you're kind of thinking, this is why he's out there, this is why we need him, because he is one of our most quality players that we have. Problem is he doesn't really have the quality around him to make other things happen. So Jackson up front, I mean, he's still that same striker that I feel like I talked about earlier this season, where a lot of energy, a lot of good work ethic, but gets into the box and it's almost like he turns into just the biggest bumbling idiot that you've ever seen. No sense of what to do, no sense of how to finish. You know, that one where he's through on goal and it's one-on-one with Martinez and he tries to flick it. No. Like, Martinez, he's still big, he's still standing up, so fake your shot, take a touch, do something, because you're in behind and you have plenty of time to take a touch and pass it around him. But instead he tries the little flick. There's the cross where it was off, they called him offside and he missed it wide. Put it on goal because you were on. VAR would have overturned it. I will say Sterling, I did forget to talk about this because we were offside a lot today, which is ridiculous how much we were offside. But the one where Sterling was played through and then ends up putting it right at Martinez, put it in because he looked on the replay. But the thing is, you don't put it in, guess what? VAR can't come in and do anything about it. So, yeah, but that's our starting line. You know, we had two players that played well today, and then they both unfortunately made one mistake that led to the goal. Everybody else was mixed to bad, and that's not good enough for your starting 11. As far as the players that came in, Chilwell came on, and it kind of pushed everybody over. So Colwill and Silva were in the center, and then Disasi on the right. And I mean, he did okay. He was definitely our most dangerous player at that point after he came on, but it's still not quite enough from him for what we're looking for. And on top of that, you know, you think about Mudryk being on that left side with Chilwell making the runs around him. That might be a deadly combination. But he comes on for Mudryk, so now he is just the left side by himself. And he can still be effective, as we saw, but it's not quite that same danger feel to it. Like, he had the one breakthrough on goal. Outside of that, most of the crosses to him, or most of those balls out wide, ended up leading to defender puts pressure. He doesn't have any help at all, so he essentially just has to cut it back and go all the way back. So, yeah, it's just... He would probably be more effective if he had help over there, essentially. Palmer and Ugachukwu were the next two to come on. Again, Ugachukwu coming on for Fernandez is just very odd, since Caicedo was giving us absolutely nothing. And he kind of was okay today at times. Like, he had his moments where the player that we saw against Bournemouth, I saw those moments from him. There were a couple times where he dribbled through people very well, or he knocked the ball around really well. But then he also had several moments today where it felt like he was trying to do way too much and gave the ball away very deep, which is not something you need your deep-lying midfielder to do. So, yeah, he was just kind of up and down today. Palmer, kind of the same thing, although a little bit more on the downside, because there were several moments where it feels like, okay, you did something nice. You got out of that pressure. Jeez, he got out of that pressure, now get rid of it. And he didn't. He held on to it, and then gave the ball away. So, yeah, he just... I don't really know why we got him, to be honest. Like, he's not terrible, but he's not the level we need him to be. And as much as we spent for him, you would think, okay, well, we just brought in, like, a good young talent who's really going to come in and break his way into this team, and he's not really doing that. Like, I'm not really seeing anything from him that gets me excited to see more. I'm seeing little flashes of, okay, that was good, followed up by instantly flashes of, why is he playing? um, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they saw in him that made them want to splash so much money on a young player, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And then the final one was Broya, and it's good for him to be back, but I mean, at that point, at the point that he came on, you knew he wasn't going to come on and really do a whole lot. You know, because he's just returning from injury. We're down to 10 men, so he's not really going to get as much time on the ball up front. And even before he got injured, it wasn't like he was tearing up the league or anything. So I I feel like if anybody's going to bring out the best from Pochettino, has the best chance as far as the managers we've had in so far, since Broya's been like a Chelsea player. But I don't know. We'll see. Today was not really inspiring much confidence, to be fair. There were several moments where it felt like he's got to do better, or he's got to be a bit more composed, because there have been moments in his early career where he's shown that composure that a striker needs to have. You know, the moments where instead of just, oh, ball in the box, I'm just going to shoot. He's shown that composure in the past to pick his head up, see where the keeper is, see where the open spot is in the goal, and try to actually place it there. Today, I didn't really see a whole lot of that. You know, the couple moments where he did pick it up and had a chance to shoot, it felt like he was head down, I'm just going to rip it. And that's not what he's done in the past. So I don't know if that's just him trying to prove himself and trying to do too much, or maybe just still growing back into it, getting that feel of being out in the high pressure and having the awareness to calm yourself down and pick your spot. I don't know. But today was not a, oh yes, Broya's back. It was a, okay, you know, he's back. Let's see if he can do better next time out. Which obviously he's going to have the chance, since Gillett was like, hey, Jackson, Martinez just kicked the ball into you. Here's your 5th yellow of the season. Which, to be fair, the other 4 yellows were him being an idiot. But yeah, today's yellow was just, I mean, I've seen so many players that they get up in front of the ball and then the other team decides, oh, well, he's standing in front, I'm going to kick it off of him. And the referee just lets it go. This was a scenario of, he wasn't even hard, like he stood in front of it and then he turned his back and started walking away, and Martinez kicks it into him as his back is turned. And the referee's just like, you know what? I don't like Chelsea today. Here's your yellow card. It's just dumb. But yeah, so Broy is probably going to get a chance. I know we also have that Washington kid who I'm pretty sure is a striker. So maybe he'll get a chance next game, even though I don't think we've seen him yet. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it's just, we are a terrible team. Boehly has turned us into an awful team at the moment. The only hope that we have this season is that the players that are injured return and they stay fit and they are as good as we're hoping they're going to be. Because, I mean, outside of that, if they don't return well, you know, if they get injured again, or even if they do return, if they're not up to the level that we're thinking they're going to be, we're going to be in relegation battle. Like, that's just the truth of it. Because where we are right now and how we're performing right now, we're not beating anybody outside of the bottom 3. And that's, it's harsh, it's sad to think about, but I mean, we don't get the job done. We don't. Watching City against Forest yesterday just shows. And Forest played the exact same game they did against us, against City, at the Etihad. And City put away their chances. They put high pressure on them, they created those chances, and they scored. And even when City went down to 10 men in the second half, they still didn't really let Forest have much of a chance, because they have the quality, and they have the know-how, and they have the desire. I look at a lot of these players, and so many of them, and just how many times that the ball goes out for a corner and just heads drop. You can't have that mentality. You know, it's so weak to have that mentality of like, oh gosh, man, this is hard. Oh, we're just not playing well. You gotta get yourself in that right headspace to go play. Because at the moment, I'm not seeing a lot of players that look like they're excited to go out and play. There's a lot of players right now that feel like this is a chore to have to go out and step out on the pitch right now. And as long as we have players that are acting that way and playing that way, we're we're going to continue to struggle. We're going to continue to lose games, and that's where we are. So, yep, I'm waving the hashtag bully out flag every single match now, pretty much until we get relegated. At which point, I mean, it's gonna be harder to watch the games anyway. So I think I'll just we'll see what happens. But with all that being said, that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the match today and on the past few matches that I missed? Let me know. We can talk about, discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.